Hi, my name is Braden, or K3DW on the Twisty Puzzles forum, and I wanted to make a very quick video on basically how I put my puzzles into a Sinterbox. Now, if you don't know what a Sinterbox is, you probably shouldn't be watching this, honestly. But, go learn up. If you have any questions, you can definitely ask me, but this video is about if you already know what that is. So, basically, I was talking with Michael's son, who is... he runs a YouTube channel called Puzzleworks, and I was just talking about how I actually kind of make my own Sinterboxes, but based on the ones from Tom van der Zanden's Part Stacker. So I'll kind of go into that right here. So I have a test 3x3 right here, and this 3x3 is fully functional. I mean, I don't have any tolerances or fillets or anything, but each piece is fully functional. So I'm just going to delete everything. I could do a keep bodies, but I'm just going to do delete bodies. Okay, so I'm just left with obviously the four basic building block, or the four basic pieces, sorry, of a 3x3. I will go save as STL. This one is the corner. In Part Stacker, you always want to do dot, however many there are going to be in the puzzle. So there's 8 corners. And there's 12 edges. There are going to be 6 centers. So center dot 6. Great. And then there's obviously only one core. So you don't really have to put dot, you're just going to put core. Now, you don't really have to do all this stuff, it just, makes it easier once I'm going to go into Part Stacker, which is where I'm going to go right here. So I'll go import these 4 things. If you notice, they all have the dot number at the end of them. And then when they open up in Part Stacker, look, 6 centers. 1 core, 8 corners, etc. So here are the pieces in Part Stacker. I'm using a bounding box of 85 because I've tried this already, and I know that 85 by 85 by 85 works well for this specific puzzle that I made. I will generate the Sinterbox, but I'm going to delete it later, and I'll explain what I mean. So it just packs all these pieces here. Again, if you're watching this video, you probably already know what this is, and I don't really need an explanation, because I don't really see anybody who doesn't know how to design puzzles already watching this video. But that's okay, it's open to anybody if they want to. I just don't see why you'd want to. So I'll save this as test 3x3 base Sinterbox. Just, give a little bit of a descriptive name. Let's go into, let's actually open this up in Mesh Mixer, which takes a surprisingly long amount of time to boot up, considering it's Mesh Mixer. I don't know, maybe it's a more intensive program than I can tell, but it takes as long as Solidworks for me. So here is the whole puzzle that I just packed. So here's all the pieces inside the Sinterbox. Now, these Sinterboxes are incredible, and Tom Z's program is incredible for making Sinterboxes, but there's an issue. So sometimes my prints, I think maybe the lid or one of the sides will get will not print with the rest of the box, or a couple sides will be not printed or something. That's all because I found out when I went into Mesh Mixer. I'll go edit separate shells. I found out that every single bar on the Sinterbox is actually its own body, sort of. I mean, they're not called bodies when you're talking about STLs, but I mean, in SolidWorks lingo, it's its own body. So what I normally do, I go in here and I delete every single one. And this is not exactly a quick, well, it can be a quick process if you do it like I do, coming at it from the side and just spamming your delete key and your mouse, which is what I'll do right here to all 6 sides. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this model, after I'm finished doing all this, I'm going to import it into SolidWorks. I'm going to remake my own Sinterbox. but this Sinterbox will all be one piece. Now, you might be asking me, or you might be thinking towards me in your head, why are you not just combining these shells into, I think they're called shells. Why not just combine these shells into one continuous thing? Like do some sort of Boolean operation, maybe in Blender or something. Well, I mean, I don't really know how to use these programs too well. I don't know how to use MeshMixer too well. I know about 2 tools in MeshMixer, and they are the edit, separate shells, and then combine them back together once I want them combined together. So I don't really know how to do that kind of stuff. I kind of like making my own stuff. I know how to use SolidWorks pretty well, so I prefer that. Plus, you can make it equation driven in SolidWorks, so you can actually just type in a few numbers if you want. If you set it up the right way, you can type in a few numbers and then get it to generate a Sinterbox for you. I'm not going to do that right now. I could do that some other time. It sounds like a fun project, but I will, in SolidWorks, open. I'm actually going to open this. I didn't save it in MeshMixer, so I'm going to open it just like this. I mean, it's still there in MeshMixer. So what I do is, and this is not exactly the quickest process, but it's definitely good. I'm going to draw a square. I'm going to make it equal. I'm going to dimension it to be 1.1 millimeters. Why 1.1 millimeters? Because that's what the Sinterbox is. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude it. Oh, I didn't set up that hotkey. I'm going to extrude it out towards the end. I'm going to make sure it lines up right inside of that last beam. That'll be important for later, but it doesn't really matter right now. Let's go on the right. I don't really have to dimension the rest of these because it can all just be geometrically done. Yeah, sorry if this video ends up being boring, but hey, if you came to my videos for excitement, you went to the wrong place. Which 2 did I do so far? I did those 2, so I need to do the front plane. I do have some hotkeys set up in SolidWorks. Most of them actually are from Matt Bonner's videos, that SolidWorks puzzle design SolidWorks tutorial videos that he came out with back in. Oh, make sure it's not merged. He came out with back in 2015, I think. That's when I first learned. I actually first learned how to use SolidWorks from him, which is pretty cool. I really appreciated those videos when they came out. Yeah, so a lot of my hotkeys are from him. A lot of them aren't. I just, you just set up your hotkeys over time. What do I want to do? I want to do a linear pattern. This linear pattern is going to be in the, let's do it in the vertical direction. I guess it's only vertical depending on your reference frame. I believe it should be 12, but I will probably be wrong. And I just want to find out what's the spacing here. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so yeah, so that was right. 7.5? No. And then you just kind of, do the little tweaking. It's annoying, but I find it rewarding. If you don't find it rewarding, feel free to not. But I like it. That looks good. It's good enough, I guess. Not that one, though. Cool. So I'm going to remember 7.633 because that will be useful later. Okay, so far I have all these. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of putting all these... I'm just kind of putting all of these bars. I just want to, remake them. Put them here. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So I did the Y direction. Let's do one in the X direction. So let's do a linear pattern in the X direction. Nope, that's not a direction. X direction. I will choose this beam and this beam. Oops, not direction 2, direction 1. Like that. And it just so happens that it is exactly... Is it enough the same? Do I care? I happen to care. 4. 5. Nope. 4, 5. Perfect. So now what I've gotten so far is all this. Great. And then you just keep going. So let's do an X direction. Basically, it's going to end up being, there's going to end up being 5 of them. 5 linear patterns you have to do. This one is going to be a little less, maybe 7.3. I'm going to forget the first 2 numbers now. I'll have to go back and check. That's probably good. Great. And then I'll do a linear pattern. Let's do Y direction again. So what am I left? What do I have still? Okay, so I have yet to do. I feel like I missed something somewhere. It's a learning experience. Let's see. Oh, yes, that's true. I did. In this one, I missed one of the beams right there. Perfect. Yeah, that looks good because in so if I do Y and then Z first, then if X is third, you only do X once just because of I don't know, just because of how the geometry of this whole thing works. So let's do a linear pattern in the Y again. Let's choose Y direction. Oh no, I need to know the first number. First number was this. Linear pattern. Y direction. Which bodies do I need? I need this body, but opposite. And is that it? Nope. Oh, I exit. Okay. Let's try that again. Body. I think it might just be this body that I need, but we'll see. It would be easier if I just hid this. That would be easier. Yeah, I was missing something. Oh, and also, this doesn't need to be 12 now. It needs to be 11 because this beam is already here. If you notice, there's that weird overlap, but that'll get sorted out later. And then also this one. Oops. Also this one goes up. Great. And then, as you can see, we're only going to need... Oh, that's too bad. Okay, maybe I'll... Are these perfectly overlapping? Oh, they are. Beautiful. Okay, that works. And now I just need one more linear pattern in the Z direction. So again, this whole thing is a... I mean, I'd say it's a decently tedious process. Oops, I need to check the Z one. I don't remember it. It's a decently tedious process, but if you've seen any of my videos, you might know that I like tedium. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's pretty rewarding, I think, because I make my own Sinterbox and my prints come out nice. It's especially good actually if I don't use Part Stacker, which is sometimes. I sometimes don't use Part Stacker. I sometimes just kind of do like an explode of my puzzle and then move the pieces into proper places. It gets them really compact in there. But that's for another time if anyone cares. Now I'm going to combine all these bodies. I'll just select them all and combine. I have a hotkey for that. So after this is done loading, because my computer is 4 years old, then if you notice, these corners are good now. Like, there's nothing wrong with the corners, except for one corner. So the corner that is at the origin is obviously good, kind of by definition. And then the other corners are going to be good. But the one corner that isn't good is the one that's directly opposite from the origin. So there's going to be a little chunk cut out. If you care about that chunk, I happen to, then I would use a move face feature, select 2 of these faces, and then it looks messy, but when you press check, you're good. Great. So now this is a perfectly good Sinterbox. So let's save this let's save this as a solid part file. So let's just call it Sinterbox. And then after I do that, I'm going to delete the mesh that we started with. I'm going to save this as an STL. Just call it Sinterbox.stl. And there it is. Okay, so now I'll go back into Mesh Mixer. So now I have my de-Sinterboxed puzzle. I will import the Sinterbox. And because, see, here's a really interesting point. Because we built this Sinterbox right on top of the existing puzzle, when I put it back into Mesh Mixer, oh look, it's right on top of the existing puzzle. It's perfect. So now I'm just going to go in. I'm going to select all these. I will combine them. They end up getting colorful. You know, why not? Let's also save this. Let's call it combined. And then let's export as final test3x3.stl. So if I exit that, if I go back in here, now I have my final test3x3.stl, and it has a fully solid Sinterbox that is now one piece. I actually don't know if this is more or fewer triangles. Like, I don't know if the file size is, actually we can check that right here. Okay, so the file size is actually considerably higher. And it's for a reason that I don't really need to explain here. If anyone cares, they could ask me. But the file size is actually higher in this new one that we made, even though it's fewer parts, or it's fewer bodies. But it prints nicer. So if that's something that matters to you, it is something that matters to me, then this is something good to do. So Michael's son, if you're watching, thank you for watching. I'm sorry this video took so long. And anybody else, if you're still watching and still interested, thank you, and I hope you learned something.